Hi, friends. I'm Jeffrey Rickman, and this is Plain Spoken. I report on a number of things. Sometimes I do individual stuff, but a lot of times I get to speak with people on the ground in different places around the world. Many of you have seen my interview with Absalom Nuhu. Interviewed him, I think, about 2 years ago now. He and several others in Nigeria have been helping me to stay aware of what exactly is happening over there. And by American standards, it's quite exciting. It's quite dramatic. I showed on my morning briefing 2 mornings ago footage of in a church building, seemingly in a church worship service, there was a fight with people throwing chairs, picking up tripods and hitting each other with them. It was pandemonium. It was the definition of pandemonium. And so a lot of people in the West, some people just want to look away and avoid it. But I think in the West, we need to try and understand what's happening there, especially as the North Georgia Annual Conference of the Global Methodist Church has gotten the 4 Nigerian annual conferences as missional partners. How can we as Westerners pray for Nigeria? How can we support Nigeria? How can we make efforts to bring peace there, and what would do more harm than good, and what would do good? I've got Absalom with me for 30 minutes, and Absalom is going to tell us about what's been going on the ground in Nigeria, and then we're going to close with how it is that we can pray for Nigeria. So if you guys haven't met my friend Absalom before, this is what he looks like. He's a lovely person. He and I have been visiting before I turned it on, and he's going to help us know what we're doing. So Absalom, Jefferson Knight, I forget if he's Nigerian or not, but he is an African. He recently published an article saying that the Global Methodist Church has caused all kinds of division in Africa, that if the WCA and the Global Methodist Church had not at all intervened over there, there would be perfect peace. And all of this violence has happened because of the Global Methodist Church. Is that true? Have we caused violence over there?
Yeah, somehow, this is normal. Even in the history of church, we have a lot of crises. If you read through the church history, you will discover that divisions that have started long ago. So the split of the church now, the transition from the United Methodist Church into Global Methodist Church is the current cause of the crisis in the Nigerian Episcopal area. So I can say it in one way or the other, it has caused a crisis.
Okay. So yeah. How there are always accusations of misinformation, people lying. Do you feel like the Global Methodist Church has done a good job spreading accurate information, or do you think that there have been many people who unfortunately just either don't know what they're talking about or are intentionally lying to confuse people in Nigeria?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of misinformation here in Nigeria, and most of this information has been generated by the Nigerians themselves. And I think it's because of the people's interests. When we decided to talk about, when we initiated the discussion about the Global Methodist Church, since then we have started receiving a lot of pushback, especially from the faction who are not loyal to the Bishop John Wesley Yohana. So they do not actually like the idea of the Global Methodist Church. So they don't not only disliking it, they also engage in giving misinformations about the Global Methodist Church. That caused a lot of tensions among the United Methodist Church family in Nigerian Episcopal. And sometimes the situation is difficult to control, but those who have been loyal to the leadership of the bishop, they understood clearly, they listened to us, and they decided to take a decision and follow and believe what we are telling them about what is happening. But the other people on the other sides who are, from the beginning, they are not loyal to the leadership of the bishop. They always give a closing ear. They don't want to listen, and they receive half information from their leaders who are not loyal to the bishop. And whatever they tell them, they receive it and keep spreading it. And that led to so much misinformation here that served as a cause of the crisis within Nigerian Episcopal here.
So What are some of the lies that people in the United Methodist Church are spreading about the Global Methodist Church there? What falsehoods are they spreading around?
From the beginning, in fact, from the beginning of the information of the Global Methodist Church, the lies that was being spread in our society, in our community, that the Global Methodist Church is the church that approve the homosexuals.
Okay.
That's what they were telling. The Global Methodist Church is a homosexual church.
Mm.
If you move through our community in the villages, that's what you'll be hearing people are saying. The GMC is the homosexual church. So Bishop want to take us to the homosexual church. So people keep spreading this misinformation because on average, United Methodist Church members here, especially those who are in the rural areas, they don't go on internet. They don't read about what is happening within the global community. So they are ignorant, some of them, about what is happening. So they easily believe what they have been told by the people. And those who are telling them, they knew that they are giving them misinformation, but this is what they want. They want people to be misinformed so that they will use this to keep on influencing them so they can have people who have been backing them in their own agenda. So, and I think this is one of the lies. And the second lies, they do create that the lie is that one of the reasons why the Global Methodist Church is founded is because there was 25 million US dollars that was promised to some particular people in Africa and in the United States. So they have been bribed with 25 million US dollars to leave the denomination so that the homosexual will take over. So they will go and plan another denominations because they have given them more than $25 million. So they were misquoting the $25 million that has been proposed in the early petitions of the Protocol of Reconciliations through grace. The Protocol of Separation and Reconciliation through grace. You know, if you read that, the article about the Protocol of Separation, there was this 25 million US dollars that will serve as some compensations to the denomination that will be formed when it has been separated. So they use that as misinformation. They built on it and spread false information among our people here. And so many people have been spreading that ignorantly until later they have stopped when they discover that it's not true. So from this lie to the other, from this lie to the other. And number three, another thought misinformation that they have been sharing about the Global Methodist Church is that this one, it has to do with domestic here. They said one of the reasons why we want to join the Global Methodist Church is because Bishop John Wesley wants to continue a lifetime bishop. So he is about to leave the office. He doesn't want to leave the office. He wants to continue to serve as a life bishop. So Global Methodist Church have given him the opportunity to serve as a life bishop. That is why he wants to migrate to Global Methodist Church. So he wants to continue ruling people. He is after leadership. You know, these are the misinformation they have been giving people. And so many of them.
Okay.
And those who are promoting the BUMC or regionalization here in Nigeria, when they are hearing their people are talking about this misinformation, they keep quiet. They keep quiet about it, especially, sorry to mention them, people like Andy and the other guys who knew that these guys are not saying the truth, but they keep quiet because they love the way they are spreading the false information, because that is giving them more advantage. You will never hear them one day coming out and correct the misinformation among their people.
So I always assumed that Andy Emmanuel is spreading a lot of this misinformation, but if I heard you correctly, you're saying he isn't spreading it, but he isn't correcting those who are spreading it.
Yeah, no, he is spreading it as well.
Okay.
Because many times Andy told people through videos and audios, I can even send it to you. You will hear it. He's told people, you know, he spoke in Hausa. He said Bishop went to America and signed to join a new denominations. And they have promised him good things if he joined them. And he said, Bishop is the one that is supporting LGBTQ. There was a time Andy was saying that Bishop is the promoter of the LGBTQ, because bishops say that he will be in ministry with the homosexuals. He will be in ministry with them. So he was telling people in Hausa, he said, hear what Bishop say, he will be in ministry with them. He refused to tell them that Bishop was only quoting the voice in our book of discipline, in the United Methodist Church book of discipline. Bishop was only quoting what is in the book of discipline, where he said, we will be in ministry with anybody, but homosexuality still remain incompatible to the Christian teaching. But Andy just picked that word, we will be in ministry with anybody. He used it against Bishop, interpreting it in Hausa and telling people that, you see, your bishop say he will be in ministry with homosexuals. So your bishop is the one promoting homosexuals. He said it with his mouth. I heard him, and the video and audio is still on record. So can you see this kind of misinformation? Now people got to know at the end of this journey, people realized that it was actually not the bishop that was promoting the homosexual. He was actually the one, because people have seen him in the floor of the general conference, making some presentation and speaking several times on the floor of the conference, speaking the minds of the mainstream United Methodist Church, where they were committed in removing the incompatible language, and they are seeking for another soft landing language that will be accommodating, so we can be together. And people have watched him in the floor of the general conference talking about connection with the United Methodist Church. He say he thinks about the agricultural development, he think about the healthcare, he think about the educations and scholarship and all of that. So it is right time for us to continue in these connections with the progressive church in America. He said this in the floor of the general conference, and people heard him. So
the reason I ask about him in particular, Andy Emmanuel has been the primary leader in the Nigerian conference against Bishop Yohana. He's been speaking publicly against him for a couple of years now. He has been very public and vocal on the floor of General Conference. He's the main Nigerian who has been visible and who wants to stay. And it's very difficult to speak about what's been said and done behind the scenes, but it does seem as though he has been willing to contort many times information so as to distort what has been said and done and who is on what side. So in case you're having a hard time with Absalom's accent, what he's established is that there is a good deal of lying going, at least from the United Methodist side, where many Nigerians are saying that the Global Methodist Church is actually the liberal progressive group, and that the United Methodist Church is maintaining biblical standards. And in the West, we know that that is not true because we read the news and things are self-evident. But in the Nigerian context, there aren't a lot of people doing their own research. Rather, they are willing to trust their leadership that has shown itself willing to be dishonest about these things. So Andy Emmanuel is not the only one being dishonest. However, he is the most visible and vocal one, putting out these videos that fly in the face of reality. So let's talk about the ways in which this has started impacting things on the ground, because there are many people who are confused about what the facts are in America and what's happening. There are some people who think that the protocol was adopted and $25 million was sent over just to Africa to buy Nigeria, which is not true. There are a lot of people thinking that the Global Methodist Church is fine with homosexuality and liberalizing. And there are many people believing these things said about Bishop Yohana, saying that he wants to stay in power forever and become a Nigerian king or something like that. These things are not true.
Yeah.
They could not be true. But even so, many people believe them. And a lot of people have seen this footage of violence in a Nigerian United Methodist Church building. So tell us about the violence that has erupted. How big is it? Who's doing what? Just tell us what you think is important for Americans to know.
Well, the last Sunday, I was preaching in one of our local church within Abuja here. And my friend is preaching in another church then, in the district headquarters, the United Methodist Church, Abuja, in the city of Abuja. So he was preaching there. So I think after the message, the district superintendent stood up to share the benediction. But before he shared benediction, he had to make an announcement. He made an announcement by telling the church, the congregations about the decisions of the annual conference in regard to joining the Global Methodist Church. So he have shared with them and told them that the annual conference have voted unanimously to leave the United Methodist Church and join the Global Methodist Church. So from today, all the churches within Abuja district are Global Methodist Church. Upon mentioning that, and someone from the elder church executive stood up and said, "It's a lie. It won't work. We're not going to accept that." He shouted at him. And when he shouted at him, the people from his community, that is the community of that elder, saw the way he reacted and they backed him up. They began to shout. So some of them rushed to the altar in anger and want to attack the district superintendent. They rushed to the altar and they started breaking the altar glass that surround the altar. They started breaking it, and some of them were throwing stones at the district superintendent with woods and their shoes. They were throwing at him there. Some of them want to get to him and attack him directly. Immediately, there are guys who are loyal to us, who are advocates of the Global Methodist Church. They rush in too and block the entrance to the altar where district superintendent was sitting, and block there. They stop people from reaching out to the district superintendent. And then now they were fighting, and the argument now broke out among the congregants. Some are saying, "We have accepted this. We like this. We like the Global Methodist Church." And once you open your mouth to say you like the Global Methodist Church, close to someone who doesn't like it. So some of those guys who are violent there, they began to hit some people there. In fact, one guy by name Ayuba, who disrupted our district meeting, he took a plastic chair and hit one guy on the head, hit him and wound him severely, and the blood started running down. So another woman also took her shoes, hit another woman who are loyal to the Global Methodist Church. So it was a whole lot of commotion in the church. The police now came in. When the police come in and began to stop people, they chased people out of the church, and they stood there and protect our district superintendent. And those who are acting violently left, and people dismissed, and they left the church. So that was what actually happened. So
is that the video that I saw?
Yeah, that was the video. The video, the video of what really happened. If you watch the video very well, you will see somebody was dragging carrying plastic chair and dragging some iron in their hands to just go and respond. So actually, those who are advocating for the Global Methodist Church, they were the majority in the church. They did not talk much. Some of them stood and were watching the crazy behavior of the minority who don't like the decision or the announcement of the district superintendent. So all they were left with is to act violently. You know, African way of doing things sometimes is crazy, and that was really what happened. So the police now ended up locking the church temporarily, and police invited the church elders who are against the Global Methodist Church and invited the other elders who are for the Global Methodist Church, including the district superintendent, to come and testify in the police station. The DPO of the Nigerian police, when he asked to know the cause of the crisis, and our district superintendent, in the short time, he explained to him the reason why the crisis broke up. Our conference have decided to leave the United Methodist Church and to join the Global Methodist Church because in our general conference in Charlotte, North Carolina, the church UMC have legalized homosexuality. Mm-hmm. When the police heard that, he was angry. He said, "What? What a church that will legalize homosexuals? Mm-hmm. And you guys are fighting, you want to join that kind of church? You have made the right decision by leaving them. Then why will those guys fighting you? Did they want to join the homosexual church?" You know, automatically, once you testify this before Nigerian Security and Authority, they will just back you up. When they hear the name homosexual, you know, homosexual's name is not good to mention in Nigeria here. Nobody will back you when you are associating with them. So the police now decided to this is wrong. And as I'm talking to you now, the case has been transferred to the Commissioner of Police of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, entirely. And in short minutes, I'm going to be there today because he called us to come and testify before him again, so he will have the details of what caused the crisis that day in the church. So that is the background of what really happened that day, Jeffrey. Very sad.
I'm going to ask some short questions. Give me some short answers just for clarity.
And
The violence.
I think.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what also caused that, Andy Emmanuel came to Abuja that following week. He was in Abuja all the way from Taraba State. He came with somebody called Reverend Nibron, and with somebody called Reverend Absalom Jeremiah. Three of them. They came to Abuja. They're lodging in their hotel in Abuja. So they came with the written paper from their lawyer that they hire. That the lawyer have given them a written note that we are no longer United Methodist Church. All the pastors should vacate the church, especially our district superintendent. They are coming on Sunday to install their new district superintendent, to introduce them to the church. So they were planning that. So, and they give that paper to one of our lay pastor who is not yet ordained, serving in another local church somewhere in Abuja. And he is loyal to Andy. So the guy was sharing the paper in the Sunday morning when worship was going in different churches. He was moving from this church to the other, the United Methodist Church within Abuja, sharing the paper. And we heard about his coming. And his coming also triggered preparations by the people who are loyal to the Global Methodist Church. They even stood outside the church gate waiting to see Andy coming. They made up their mind, if they set up their eyes on Andy, they're going to push him out. Maybe they might have responded to him violently. But Andy sent spy to the church to monitor how the situation is. When that guy came to the church premises, he discovered that there are guys surrounded the church premises waiting to see if Andy will come around here. So the guy now called him and said, there are guys here. You don't need to come around here. If we come, it's not going to be nice. Mm-hmm. So Andy could not show up that Sunday. So, and I think that was also what triggered our district superintendent to properly announce our joining of the Global Methodist Church because of the swift move by the Andy, because we heard that the bishop, the interim bishop will be coming that week, the same week in which he have arrived yesterday, Bishop Niwotiwa from Zimbabwe. He have arrived in Nigeria yesterday evening. I think they want to come to Abuja and make an announcement and introduce their own posted clergy in Abuja Church in preparation of the coming of the interim bishop. But that couldn't work. And I think it's what contributed also to that Sunday's crisis in the church, the coming of Andy Emmanuel in Abuja.
Yeah. Well, and also it sounds like Bishop Niwotiwa showing up is putting pressure as well. Did I understand that correctly?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was saying it sounds like it's not just Andy being there that is causing pressure, but also Bishop Niwotiwa being there that is also causing pressure.
Yeah, we are not aware of Bishop Niwotiwa coming. We only know of Bishop John Saul is coming, even though Bishop John Saul was assigned together with two other bishops, including Niwotiwa.
Okay.
So we only know of Bishop John Saul preparing to come, but I'm not sure that he'll be coming to Nigeria. I think he has been restricted from coming to Nigeria.
So the Americans may or may not know, I think most do not know, that what's happening now in Nigeria is a big battle for real estate. Around the world, the United Methodist Church has been able to assert that it owns all of the churches because of how the trust clause has been established and exercised. But in Nigeria, where it's illegal to advocate for the acceptance of homosexuality, what we're finding is that the state is not sympathetic to American neocolonialism and is willing to defend people who want to leave the United Methodist Church and award them their buildings. So under the leadership of Bishop Scholl, enforced by Andy Emmanuel and many other men who want to stay in power in the United Methodist Church, they're trying to go around from church to church and assert that the United Methodist Church still owns these buildings, and that if people want to go to the Global Methodist Church, then they need to leave and start their own churches. But in the meantime, there are many people in the Global Methodist Church saying, nope, these buildings now belong to the Global Methodist Church. Our state Nigerian state will not give it to the United Methodist Church. The United Methodist Church and its American leaders, John Scholl, are not welcome here. And there is a great deal of confidence on the part of the Global Methodist Church in Nigeria that the Nigerian state will stand with the Global Methodist Church against the United Methodist Church. And so this is being figured out day after day in Nigeria. Have I summarized that correctly, Absalom?
Yeah, that is exactly what is happening. And I don't know why the Council of Bishops, they are not trying to sit down and to let Nigeria go in this situation in Nigeria. Jeffrey, we are the majority here. Mm-hmm. Those who left the United Methodist Church are the majority, because all the 4 annual conferences have decided. In fact, those who were not loyal to the bishop, they were rebelling against bishop earlier. They were the ones that are trying to be UMC. Those who are still with the leadership of the bishop since from the beginning, they are the ones that moved to the GMC. You can imagine, you can't compare our populations with them. All the clergies who are with the Bishop Johanna, they are still with him. Only few, maybe, who have decided not to go with us. They follow Andy recently. But we are still majority clergy, majority of delegate, majority of the congregations. In fact, Northeast Nigeria, 99.9% of the Northeastern Nigerian Annual Conference is loyal to the leadership of the bishop. They are now Global Methodist Church. Then in the Northern Nigeria, that's my own conference, annual conference where I am. We have 13 districts, only 1 district that is not loyal. The remaining 12 districts, we are Global Methodist Church. So can you see this? And in the Central Nigerian Annual Conference, I cannot tell you the numbers of the congregations around there, but I'm pretty sure that the numbers of clergy who are loyal to Bishop John Wesley are more than those who are not loyal to him in the Central Nigerian Annual Conference. The same thing in the Southern Nigerian Annual Conference where Andy came from. The clergies who are loyal to Bishop John Wesley are more than the clergies who are with the Andy. So we are far more than them in terms of clergy and delegate. So the only strongholds, their stronghold is in the Central Nigerian Annual Conference, where I think they have pretty much number of lay people around there. Mm. But if you can combine their population within the Episcopal, they are not up to us.
Yeah, for people who are interested in those numbers, you can go over to peopleneedjesus.net. That's Chris Ritter's blog. And if you go to the UMC Downfall Division, I forget what that page is called, and just search for the word Nigeria, you can find a lot of those numbers broken down about where things are lining up. And there's still a lot of insecurity about that. You're about to have to go in a couple minutes, and we still need to hear you talk about how it is that we in the West can be in prayer for Nigeria and how we can be helpful, if at all, in helping things get figured out over there.
Jeffrey, let me just say this. What I'm so much surprised about is the reactions of the Council of Bishops. Council of Bishops listened to Andy more than they listened to Bishop Johanna when he was with United Methodist Church. Mm-hmm. Every information that Andy gave them, they rely on it than the information that the Bishop Johanna gave them. They frustrated Bishop Johanna. In fact, they are the one that even caused Bishop Johanna to move to GMC so quick. Mm. We were not planning to move to GMC that earlier. We want to just watch and see how the things are. But because of how they frustrated Bishop Johanna, they listened to Reverend Andy's report, all his false allegations and write-up against Johanna, which are false. They listen to it and they believe in it. Whatever Bishop Johanna tells them, they don't believe. Mm-hmm. So they undermine the ministry of Bishop Johanna. They elevate the ministry of Andy. Now tell me, Andy has not been in good standing with the church for 3 years with his faction. They don't attend the annual conference. They don't attend any call session that the Bishop Johanna called. Mm-hmm. They have been on their own, organizing their parallel conference. Mm-hmm. Now, automatically, they are out of the United Methodist Church for 3 years. The process of reconciling them back to the church was not failed many times. Mm-hmm. Now, can you imagine now, when Bishop Johanna and the Nigerian conferences have declared to join Global Methodist Church, Council of Bishops adopted them, received them, mm-hmm. and even sent in the interim bishop to come and sit down with the faction that have been out of the United Methodist Church for years.
Mm-hmm.
They now want to sit with them. They just want to appoint them. They have appointed them and given them leadership, posting them in many churches. I've heard that Bishop John Saul, have posted many pastors. He have assigned many pastors. I've seen. I wonder somebody is from America there who have not yet seen any clergy, who have never known their clergy. You are making an appointment.
Mm-hmm.
He has not seen any clergy with his eyes. He don't know this person. He don't know this person. But we have seen the list that Bishop John Saul have appointed pastors into different churches. You are the bishop. Have you been to Nigeria? Have you served here? How do you know?
Well, Scholl, to be fair, did try to come to Nigeria, and he was immediately escorted back to America. That was, 3 weeks ago. It did not go well when Scholl tried to visit, and now they're trying to figure out if Scholl can come back and administer the church. But in the meantime, what you're saying is he's trying to administer the church from a distance, which seems like a strange thing to try to do. So there are many moving pieces that an American audience is not going to understand. I think Americans in particular just wanted to make sure that we were on the right side and we were not making things any worse than they already were. And I know you're expecting a ride to come get you and take you to the courthouse pretty quickly. So just tell us how we can pray for you, and then I can let you go.
All right. So finally, before we pray, let me just say one word.
Okay.
Jeffrey, in Nigeria here, our situations, there's difference between Nigeria and America.
Mm-hmm.
And the way things has been carried out here sometimes is it's frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm so much concerned about is how people are easily carried away and resulted into violence.
Mm-hmm.
Violence that may end up being a threat to someone's lives and properties.
Yes.
So these situations of the United Methodist Church, this is a situation that have led us to this where we are today. It so much need God's divine intervention and prayers. We want to just part away with people who claim they want to remain with the United Methodist Church. We want to part away in peace, without fight, without violence, even though most of the violence is coming from their side. We are not the one that trying to fight them, but they always want to fight us because they are angry. They are angry that we finally move out.
Mm-hmm.
So please, we need the prayers. Keep praying for us. And even Absalom here, as I'm talking to you, I've been receiving a lot of threats. There are people who vow that they will deal with me. They are threatening my life. So I'm always security conscious in my movement and here and there. I don't sometimes be comfortable moving around people in the town like that because I'll be thinking that someone somewhere hanging around trying to see how he can attack me. So I'm always at alert. So this is a sad situation.
Yeah.
Sometimes it affects me spiritually. Sometimes it makes me to feel spiritually weak. Honestly, this situation needs serious prayers.
Yes.
So your prayers over there will create a much difference. I really appreciate that if people will be praying for us.
Yes.
Over here, that God should intervene in our situation in Nigeria, Jeffrey.
Yes. Well, the Lord bless and keep you. The Lord keep you in the palm of his hand and protect you. And just keep you rooted firmly and strongly in the truth, because to be rooted anywhere else is just the wrong place to be. So thank you for doing your best to maintain your righteousness in a very difficult place. And just as a reminder to my audience, people in Nigeria are much more conservative than in America. And we believe that lying, they believe, and hopefully we do too, that lying is a great sin and is quite wrong. So I would encourage you to consider Absalom's words very soberly and seriously and let them inform your prayers. Anything else you want to say before we have to say goodbye?
Yeah, we are praying for the church globally. We're praying that the holiness that we have received from the beginning should keep on flowing. And we pray that God will protect us. So that is all it is. Keep praying for us as well. Together we can keep fighting until Christ returns.
Yes, yes. All right. Well, you need to go, and so do I, actually. So thank you so much for making the time, Absalom. I will look forward to speaking with you next time. God bless you. And friends, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.